All right, let's get right into it. At the very heart of the Quran, there's this one single idea that, well, once you really get it, it changes how you see everything. It's called Tawhid. Now, you've probably heard it translated as monotheism, but honestly, that translation it barely scratches the surface. Getting this one idea right is the key to unlocking the entire Quranic worldview.
And here's why that translation falls short. You see, the Quran doesn't present Tawhid as just, a religious creed you're supposed to check a box and believe in. No, it's framed as something way bigger. It's a fundamental description of reality itself. Think of it like the basic operating system of the entire universe.
So to really unpack what that means, let's actually start with the more common, maybe more limited way people understand this idea. It's definitely an important piece of the puzzle, don't get me wrong, but it's only one piece. For a lot of us, when we hear Tawhid, we immediately think, okay, believe in one God, not many. It's about not worshiping statues or golden calves. And yeah, that's true. But when you stop there, the whole concept can feel a bit abstract, right? Almost like a dusty old historical debate that doesn't really connect with our daily lives today. But the Quran takes this idea so much deeper.
All right, so let's pivot to that deeper meaning. This is where it gets really interesting. The Quran presents Tawhid as the underlying principle that explains why the universe makes any sense at all. It's the reason reality is coherent and orderly, and not just, random, meaningless chaos.
And the word itself actually gives us a huge clue here. Tawhid comes from the Arabic root for one, sure, but the grammatical form of the word implies an action. It's a verb, a process. So it's not just about a static belief in oneness, it's the active process of unifying, of constantly recognizing and orienting yourself toward a single, unified source for absolutely everything that exists.
And the Quran makes a pretty straightforward logical case for this. It basically says, look around. Use your reason. If there were multiple ultimate authorities, multiple gods with different wills and agendas pulling in different directions, what would happen? The result would be total conflict, pure chaos. The universe would literally tear itself apart.
And this is the crucial point. The very fact that we live in an orderly reality, one with consistent physical laws that we can study and rely on, well, the Quran says that's not some accident, it's the primary evidence for a single unified source. So this isn't about blind faith, it's a conclusion you're meant to draw from simply observing the world.
Now, one of the best ways to really grasp a concept is to look at its opposite. And the opposite of Tawhid in the Quran is called shirk. But hang on, because we're not just talking about bowing to ancient statues here. We're talking about the many modern gods that are competing for our ultimate allegiance right now, today.
So at its core, shirk isn't just about worshiping a physical idol. It's the fundamental error of taking anything that's been created, whether it's an object, a person, an ideology, anything, and giving it the ultimate value, the ultimate authority that belongs only to the Creator, the source of it all. The Quran calls this a great injustice because it's like putting your entire reality out of alignment. It's misplacing the center of your universe.
Okay, let's make this really practical. Just think about this for a second. Is your career your ultimate measure of self-worth? If you're being honest, for many of us the answer is, well, it's uncomfortably close to yes. And this is exactly where this ancient concept of shirk becomes incredibly, startlingly relevant to modern life. This is what the Quran would probably call economic shirk. It's what happens when a created thing, like your career or your bank account, becomes your ultimate source of security and identity. It replaces the true source. There's this powerful parable in the Quran about a man with these two incredible gardens. He looks at all his wealth and basically says, this will never perish. His ultimate trust is in what he's built, and in that very moment, that's shirk.
But it gets even more subtle than that. The Quran also points to a form of shirk that's totally internal. It asks this just piercing question. It forces us to look inside and ask, have I made my own desires, my own whims and wants into my ultimate authority? And that's what we could call ideological shirk. This is when a political ideology, a cultural norm, a particular ism, or even just our own personal desires become the unquestionable authority that governs our choices. When loyalty to my side or my team becomes more important than loyalty to what is true and just, well, that's it. We've just created an ideological idol.
So, okay, why does any of this matter? What's the point? Well, here's the payoff. According to the Quran, really internalizing Tawhid, truly aligning your life with this unified worldview, it isn't just an intellectual exercise. It has a massive practical benefit.
and it can be summed up in one word: freedom. Freedom from all of these false masters we just talked about.
I mean, let's take career anxiety. Without this framework, it's so easy for your job to become your entire identity. A bad performance review, a layoff, it's not just a setback, it's a devastating blow to your sense of self. But when you're oriented toward a single ultimate source, your job is just something you do. It's not who you are. Your worth isn't tied to your title. You can still pursue excellence, but you're free from that crushing weight.
Or what about social pressure? I mean, how many of our daily choices are secretly driven by a fear of what other people will think or say? The Qur'an has this amazing description of people who truly live by Tawhid. It says they do not fear the blame of any critic. Imagine that. They value their integrity more than they value public approval. That is a profound kind of inner freedom.
And this idea scales up too, from the personal to the societal. Think about it. If you believe that a human ruler or a political system has the final ultimate say, well then on what basis do you resist injustice? But the principle of Tawhid is radical. It insists that no human being and no man-made system has ultimate authority. And that right there, that provides the foundational logic for challenging tyranny and speaking truth to power.
Okay, so this whole idea, it's clearly not just something to think about intellectually. The Qur'an presents it as a practical tool, almost like a mirror for self-reflection. It's a way for you to actually test yourself, to see where your ultimate loyalties really are beneath all the noise.
So here it is, a simple 3-step test you can take, drawn right from this Quranic framework. And the whole point is to cut through what we say we believe and get to the truth of what our actions and our emotions reveal we actually worship.
First question: when a real crisis hits, I mean a health scare, a financial disaster, a personal betrayal, when the chips are really down, where does your mind go for ultimate trust? What is your gut-level reliance on? Is it your savings account, your connections, or the one single source of reality? Whatever that is, that's your functional God.
Second question: what do you fear the most? Really think about it. Is it losing your status? Is it the approval of others? Public shame? Or is it losing your connection to truth and justice? Losing your own integrity? Our greatest fear is like a giant flashing arrow, and it almost always points directly to our ultimate concern. And finally, number 3. This might be the toughest one. What are you completely, absolutely unwilling to sacrifice, even for the sake of doing what's right? Is it your reputation, your physical comfort, your wealth? Whatever that non-negotiable thing is, that has become your ultimate authority. Because at the end of the day, as we've seen, the whole point of Tawhid isn't just to nod along and agree with a theological statement. It's a call to action. It's about aligning your entire life, your psychology, your ethics, your relationships, everything with the way reality is actually structured. So, when it all boils down, it comes to this. Tawhid isn't presented in the Qur'an as just another belief you can add to your collection. It's presented as the reality we are all already living in, whether we recognize it or not. The only real question left is whether we choose to live in harmony with that reality or fight against it.